All right, let's do some post-game show here. Let's bring JuJu aboard. Hello, JuJu. How you doing today?
All right, my brother. Luscious. The hair is looking luscious today. I don't know what you got going on or what the program is,
Feeling
but
confident,
I am loving it, brother.
Feeling confidence
Yes,
over
sir.
here. That's how it goes, man. Speaking of confidence, so I know you're keeping track of everything going on. NBA free agency. We didn't do a ton of that today, so it's a good opportunity to discuss it with you. Eastern Conference. Who's making moves right now? Who are you happy with?
Man, with my Celtics dumping like none other right now, we signing Peter and Paul these days. I don't know what's going on. I think the New York Knickerbockers might be in position to be the best Eastern team next year. They signed Yabusele, who had the Olympic dunk over LeBron, and they signed Jordan Clarkson to add to the roster they had already. Could you imagine if they only had a coach? You feel me?
Tony, you're
I think they're going to make noise.
I am poo-pooing this, and JuJu's my brother, and we have a lot of good basketball conversations. I think the answer is over his left shoulder. Again, different team, but in the same city. Atlanta Hawks did a lot of great things in a very weak Eastern Conference. To me, it feels like the Hawks might be the best team in the East, and they haven't played together with all of these different pieces. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Luke Kennard, Trae Young, Jalen Johnson coming back next year. Reese Shea came online last year pretty good towards the end. Porzingis, Okongwu, like they've got players on that team, Ju.
Yeah, you're right. I can't argue with that. My only argument against that is when you live in Atlanta, you always expect something to go wrong. They can have LeBron and everybody, but something is going to go wrong. I don't know. I'm not predicting it. I don't want to put that on wax, but you're right. Atlanta looks great on paper with Porzingis, but it's Atlanta Hawks.
I know, but on paper, that's what we're playing in July, right? We don't play on wood.
Oh, yeah.
We play on paper right now, and it feels like the
Right.
Hawks are really good. Zaz, I don't know if you saw something in the Eastern Conference better than what the Hawks have done.
No, I like what the Hawks are doing. Porzingis, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, they're going for it. I mean, I can't say as much about the Heat. I know everybody loves what the Hawks are doing right now. I think so far, except for the obvious one, which is Kevin Durant going to Houston, I really like what the Nuggets have done, all right?
Big place
They
for the
bring
Nuggets.
back Bruce Brown, who killed the Heat in the finals in 23. Michael Porter Jr. stinks. Cam Johnson is a nice player. I like Cam Johnson over Michael Porter Jr. They also brought in some shooting with Tim Hardaway Jr. So, JuJu, I love what the Nuggets have done. I know it's the West, but I like what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Because like you say, MPJ gave them nothing in the playoffs. Russell Westbrook was the Super Mario question mark. What you going to get from him? Are you going to get a turtle shell or are you going to get invincible, man? So, yeah, with them adding those core players to put beside the Joker, barring injury, dare I say, they might be the ones coming out of the West next year.
And what I like, too, is that they were able to get underneath the tax. They were worried about that, and I think that's where Kroenke was like, yeah, we might have to trade 15 at some point if the tax gets to that level, when now it's not. They also get Jonas Valanciunas, who's going to be a big get for them on a center, where you don't have those non-Jokic minutes were so tough for them down the stretch that it's like, how do we get another center to still play big? Jonas Valanciunas is that guy. Timmy Hardaway giving them shooting. Excuse me. It feels like they let go of Michael Porter Jr. and brought in 3 or 4 guys to replace them, and hopefully their young guys step up. But this is like a really good core of veterans that can play in playoff games.
JuJu, what did you make of Sophie Cunningham yesterday in the WNBA? Very critical about the cities that they're choosing to expand WNBA in. I feel like. That league is weird sometimes, man. I've never heard a player in one of our major sports who talks about there shouldn't be teams in specific cities.
Yeah, I think she needs to do her history, do her Googles, because the last couple of sellouts, the best attendance record ever in the WNBA came from the Detroit Shockers. And I think that, moving forward, I don't see why that city wouldn't clamor for another team. They don't necessarily have a lot going on. You see the Pistons are always selling out. You feel me? So I think that some of the new players, this like sometimes we got to do our histories on hip hop and the Beach Boys and see what they actually meant to the people. I think that the Detroit will be a great addition to the people. Now, I think they would definitely sell out.
JuJu, what did you make of Coco Gauff yesterday?
Oh, man. Before we move to Coco Golf, that's a great transition. I got to give some credit, though, to Sophie Cunningham and those Indiana Fever. They won the Commissioner's Cup last night without Caitlin Clark. Tough day for the Angel Reese and the Indiana Fever are nothing without Caitlin Clark haters. Like the Natasha Howard MVP stepped up 16 big points, 12 rebounds. Aaliyah Boston, 12 points, a couple of 13, 14 rebounds. But one of the biggest midseason acquisitions that's flying under the radar, Ari McDonald, dog. Ari McDonald has came into that team and has been the leader, like stepped in for Caitlin, distributing what Tyrese Halliburton is for the Pacers. Ari has stepped into that role, and they got a big dub last night against the pretty much the favorites to win the championship this year, the Minnesota Lynx. Terrible night for Lil Feezy, Nafisa Collier. I think she went like what was the stats? 6 for 18 last night. Kayla McBride, 1 for 7. The bridge is over, 0 points. Bridget Carlson. Oh, man, but great win for the Indiana Fever last night. Commissioner Cup champs.
Give me some thoughts here on Coco. What happened to her?
Yeah, man. I mean, we praise Coco when she do good, so we got to talk about her blunder yesterday at Wimbledon. Maybe she was just riding that championship high. I'm not sure, but she went out in the first round yesterday in Wimbledon against, I got to read her name, Diana Yastremska.
Nailed it.
Never heard of her, but now she put her name on the map and beat the number 2 player in the world in Coco Golf. And Wimbledon shaping up to be an interesting one on that women's side.
Jeremy, you got a stat of the day for us here?
Ooh,
today?
I do.
Start of the day, start of the day. This is start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This is start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This is start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This is start of the day.
Stat of the day brought to you by Miller Lite. On June 29th, an MLB player became the 9th player ever to be intentionally walked 4 times in one game.
Whoa.
Barry Bonds did that 4 times in his career.
Yeah.
This is the first time since Barry Bonds. Any of you want to guess who the player was?
Man. Yes, it was a man. I have no idea.
One of the Negroes.
James Wood of the Washington Nationals,
I don't
who
know
is
that
having
fool.
a remarkable season for the Nationals. He is an unbelievable hitter, and he's being treated as such. Intentionally walked 4 times in one game.
Who's batting after him? That must be a bad hitter.
Now,
They're not a very good team.
Was he intentionally walked at all with the bases loaded like Bonds used to get?
I do not believe that happened in this game, but I will go back and check each of these at-bats, and by the end of this postgame show, I will have
Has there ever been more of a sign of respect than walking a hitter when the bases are loaded?
Right. Ultimate respect.
JuJu.
That's the ultimate respect.
You got some polls for us? Let's update the polls for today, JuJu. Come on.
Oh, man, I got some polls, but I got one thing to get off my chest. Love Island. Oh, my damn. Last night was one of the greatest shows in Love Island this season. It showed the true colors of Shelly. Olandria showed her ass, and Sierra out of nowhere. Like, come on. I want to give them the goofy of the day. Sierra, Olandria, and Shelly. You guys are the goofballs of the day for your opinions in that truth ceremony last night. Totally uncalled for, ganging up on my sister Huda. What else can she do? She's sorry. Neither here nor there.
Ace had a rough night too, JuJu. Poor Ace. He was going after people left and right for some reason. And Amaya has become America's sweetheart now just because of the pounding she was taking yesterday.
Hey, yo,
Right,
what?
Austin, right? Because Austin showed up out of nowhere. Austin was all quiet whenever he was with her. Right. Now you want to get in front of everybody and voice your griefs with Amaya. How about be a man and tell her how you felt when you was in a couple with her? That was totally lowball from him.
Big night for Chris, though. Chris really stepped up yesterday.
Yes, sir, he did.
Chris and the other guy who we forgot, I think his name's Brian, that was with Andreina, but no one talks about him. Or he went and defended Amaya.
Billy, I'm late. I'm late to this Love Island game, but you've said that the games are useless, and I disagree. They are not useless. It's for you to make out with somebody that you've been wanting to make out with when you're in a couple.
No, but there's no winners or losers. Like, there's point systems and whatever, but there's no prize.
But a lot of drama comes from it. Like, because you guys are always saying, I skip through the games. Like, no, you got to watch these games.
No one skips through the games.
I think Rose said that she skips. Ridiculous. It's like, no, you don't skip through the game. You see who's making out with who.
No, yesterday's game was seriously just, here's a piece of paper, anonymously talk shit about people, and then make them stand in front of everyone and read it out loud. And then maybe you'll claim it, maybe you won't. But then other people will jump in and just start piling on and gaslight and scream at people and tell them what pieces of crap they are. Yesterday was like the most toxic episode. I don't like call things like toxic often, but like yesterday was like the most, let's just be all terrible people to each other for no reason.
Right, bro. And salute to my brother Pepe, because he turned down old girl Adrena. He kept it real and turned down the pretty much one of the bombshells. So salute to Pepe for keeping it real, telling his new girl that it may not be working because he still got his heart on Hannah, but he could have said it a little earlier before the challenge. Neither here nor there.
Can I ask you a question about Pepe from last night? So last night they wrote anonymous like notes to each other, and the point was to kind of like clear the air, I guess, but it was really just to get everyone to fight. I think that Pepe wrote a note to himself asking himself to break up with the girl publicly because no one was going to do it. Because we never got to the bottom of who wrote the letter. He's like, you got to choose, Pepe. Do you still like the other girl? He's like, I do. It's like, I think you wrote this to yourself as a cop-out.
Bruh, I think that is a dookie bomb because I ain't even think of it from that.
Pepe was trying to find a way out of that, and I think he gave it to himself.
Right. And he did not have accountability. Speaking of accountability, I'm going to give a little unsolicited advice to my brother Tony. You got to stop saying you're going to kick everyone's ass in the building, because can you imagine if I said that the Miami PD will be called expeditiously? Neither here nor there. First poll, best Heat shooter of all time, Duncan Robinson or Ray Allen? 79% of the audience says Ray Allen.
Wow.
Obvious.
All right.
Can you leave a funeral blasting loud music? 57% of the audience says no, you cannot.
Who are the 43% that think it's okay?
Partiers. That's who they are.
I just did something really sad. Can I not make myself feel a little better on the way out?
Can we wait till we pull out of the funeral home?
That's fair.
Right. Maybe you can blast Boys to Men, something like that, end of the road. But yeah, Beach Boys seems a bit on the line.
That's kind of inappropriate too. Just blast an end of the road. Someone just died.
I feel like, Zaz, you would appreciate me blasting a Pearl Jam if you died.
Well, yeah, because I think just everybody knows, oh man, Zaslow would totally approve of this. I think that's all right.
Would you be embarrassed if you had to call your mother-in-law to fix your flat tire?
Oh, man.
94% of the audience says yes, they would.
Yeah. That's a disgrace if you got to do that.
Are you grotesquely fascinated by the 2025 Dolphins? 73% of the audience says no, they are not. Is every player in basketball a free agent while under contract? 88% of the audience says yes, they are. Do you assume that Manny Ramirez will still be in a batting cage at 100 years old? 89% of the audience says yes, he will be. Should Mission Impossible be called Mission Kinda Impossible? 88% of the audience says yes, it should. Is the best thing in the world opening a can of Pringles and discovering that none of them have been broken? 78% of the audience says yes, it is. And the last poll, when Zaslow speaks, does it rattle around in your brain? 65% of the audience says yes, it does. And those are your polls.
Good job, JuJu.
Thank you, guys.